9284X assigned to Department 9. That process was never completed before Mr. Simpson was arrested on September 16th. Apparently, the detention center was unaware that the district attorney had already generated a case number for Mr. Simpson. Therefore, he was booked under a new case number, which is the 07F19420X case assigned to Department 8. Las Vegas Justice Court and the district attorney have a long-standing protocol to consolidate multiple cases involving the same defendant to the lowest case number when appropriate. This maintains the integrity of the judicial process and avoids judge shopping by either party. So in light of this, pursuant to long-standing protocols and procedures, this case will proceed under the lowest case number, and in fact that is what the district attorney has filed a complaint under. That case number is 07F19284X, assigned to Las Vegas Justice Court Department 9. Counsel have any questions about that procedure?
No, Your Honor.
No.
Thank you. Then as to the state of Nevada versus Lorenthal James Simpson, case number 07F19284A. Mr. Simpson is present in custody. Counsel for the state?
David Roger.
I'll address Mr. Simpson first. Mr. Simpson, why don't you stand up, please, Mr. Simpson? Mr. Simpson, I have a criminal complaint before me. Have you received a copy of this criminal complaint?
Yes.
This charges you with the crimes of conspiracy to commit a crime, a gross misdemeanor offense, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, a felony offense, conspiracy to commit robbery, a felony offense, burglary while in possession of deadly weapon, a felony offense, 2 counts of first-degree kidnapping with use of a deadly weapon, both felony offenses, 2 counts of robbery with use of a deadly weapon, both felony offenses, 2 counts of assault with use of a deadly weapon, both felony offenses, and coercion with use of a deadly weapon, a felony offense. Mr. Simpson, do you understand the charges against you?
Yes, sir.
Now, would we have counsel present on Mr. Simpson's behalf?
Yes, Your Honor. Yale Gallantor and Gabriel Grasso on behalf of OJ Simpson, and only Yale Gallantor and Gabriel Grasso on behalf of OJ Simpson.
Mr. Gallantor, are you licensed to practice here in Nevada?
I am not fully licensed. I have filed the paperwork. I've been told by the Nevada Bar that it takes 5 days to get it processed, but I can tell you as an officer of the court, the paperwork has been filed, the fee has been paid.
There are certain Supreme Court rules that need to be followed. That's in the process. And where are you from?
I'm from Florida, Your Honor.
All right. Now, let me hear from Mr. Roger. Any objection to Mr. Gallantor making representations today based on the understanding that the proper paperwork are in the process?
No, sir, and he has Gabe Grasso with him, who is licensed in Nevada.
Mr. Grasso, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
You'll serve as local counsel?
I will be local counsel, Judge, and only me will be local counsel.
Now, also as to this procedural issue, the defendant in this case is remanded to the custody of the sheriff in this case. Mr. Simpson currently is being held without bail. Are we planning to address bail today?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'll let Mr. Rogers make the announcement for the court.
Judge, right now the defendant is being held without bail. Another court made that decision. As you are aware, the Nevada Constitution provides that all people charged with crimes, with the exception of murder in the first degree, are entitled to reasonable bail. With that in mind, the defense and I have entered into a stipulation. We'd ask the court to accept the stipulation, and it is as follows. Mr. Simpson will post $125,000 bail, cash or surety. The conditions of his bail are that he will surrender his passport to his attorney within 24 hours, that he will have no contact with the witnesses, victims, or co-defendants in this case, either personally or through his agents. Of course, his defense team, attorneys, investigators, are obviously entitled to contact these witnesses if they feel it's appropriate. And that he will obviously not be able to travel outside of the country because he will be surrendering his passport, but he will be able to travel between here and Florida or whatever is appropriate, whatever him and his attorneys decide. That's the extent of the stipulation, Judge.
Judge, also, just to clarify that, my understanding is that it would be he could travel freely within the continental United States.
Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir.
All right. Otherwise, is that a correct statement of the
That is
stipulation?
correct. That is the agreement that Mr. Rogers and I reached a few days ago, and it is stated accurately. And we'd like to thank the district attorney for his courteous and professionalism in handling this matter, Judge.
And I'll note that another judge that initially reviewed this case did order the defendant held without bail. I'll note that obviously the charges here are different than what Mr. Simpson was originally arrested on. The standard bail for a first-degree kidnapping with use of a deadly weapon is a no bail hold, a set in court amount. I'm willing to follow the agreement of the parties, the stipulation entered into by the District Attorney David Roger and counsel for Mr. Simpson. Accordingly, bail is set on this case at $125,000 total bail, cash or surety. As a condition, Mr. Simpson, there are certain conditions to posting bond here. You're ordered to surrender your passport to your attorney, Mr. Gallantor. Additionally, you're ordered to have no contact whatsoever with any co-defendants named in this case, any potential witnesses named in this case. These witnesses include any named victims in this case or any other potential witnesses. Do you understand that order?
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Simpson, by no contact, I mean no direct contact, no indirect contact whatsoever. If you see them, you're to avoid contact. If you see them walking down the street, you're to cross the street. You're to have no indirect contact. You're to not use any means to contact these individuals. Don't use email, telephone, mail, passenger pigeon, no whatsoever contact. Now, you're to have, obviously, you can travel. Where do you live, Mr. Simpson?
I live in Miami, Florida.
You're allowed travel in the continental United States. Obviously, you'll have to travel back to Las Vegas for court. You understand the no contact order includes having third parties contact any of these individuals on your behalf. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, a violation of any of these orders would be a violation of your release in this case. I will be made aware by the district attorney of any violations, and we can proceed with you in custody on this case if you violate this order. Do you understand everything?
I do so, sir.
Bail will be set. Now, how would you like to proceed? Would you like to set this matter for preliminary hearing?
We'd ask that you set this for a status check, perhaps the third week in October. There are other defendants who have received return dates sometime in October, and we'd like to have everybody in court at the same time.
All right, looks like we have the B defendant on for a return date on October 16th, the C defendant on for a return date on October 17th. I would suggest we pass this for a status check on the setting of a hearing and continued arraignment on all defendants the week after. Is that acceptable?
That is, Judge.
Yes, sir.
We'll set this for a status check the week of the 22nd. Yes.
October 22nd, 7:30.
Anything else, counsel?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
That concludes the hearing.
One last thing.
Yes.
That will be in your regular courtroom, or do we know that?
That'll have to be in the courtroom to be determined at another time. There's obviously some logistic issues involved in this case that I'll have to discuss with court staff.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. We'll let counsel know.
Remain seated. Court's adjourned.
By my watch, that was a hearing that lasted about 10 minutes. Arenthal James Simpson set to meet bail at $125,000, a price tag that had been agreed to apparently by the attorneys for both sides. Also, Simpson now ordered to surrender his passport within the next day, within 24 hours, to his own attorney, Yale Gallantor. He is ordered to have no contact with any victims, with any witnesses, with any co-defendants in the case that is currently standing here in Las Vegas. He will also not be allowed to travel, obviously, outside of the U.S., but will be allowed